Hello, beautiful angels. Oh my goodness, it's so exciting to be here with you all after World Congress. I'm too excited. World Congress on Illumination that so many of us attended. Someone told me that 70% of the participants actually also participate in the Green Tara Zoom calls. So, what an incredible, powerful presence we had and co-created and really prepared for. Of course, everything is by design. So, this is a new beginning, a completely new beginning. We will do Zoom calls today and we will also do Zoom calls tomorrow. And it will be for our entire group here because this is too important. This is actually so important that if I should put it into perspective for all of us, think in terms of millions of years of planetary existence, the existence of humanity, actually, and millions of years of a certain experience just came to an end and will actually end even more so on 11/11 this year. Millions of years. So everything we have known, everything that our ancestors knew is coming to an end. And it is coming to an end because you are here and because you are here doing the work. Sometimes people don't know exactly that they're doing the work, but we are all doing the work. So, I have memories that go to the beginning of all life on planet Earth, which is even beyond millions of years. It is billions of years. And that's why we are here, because we were able to remember certain things and we had to. So every single one of us came here equipped. And my equipment was the one that I can share from, and that's the only equipment, of course, I can share from because it has to be my own, really, I would say, DNA in the end, this galactic, cosmic, universal DNA that is within us, that has the information that can give us these perspectives of millions and billions of years. And so, what happened on planet Earth, of course, is that originally it was meant to be entertaining. Originally, it was meant to be, as Yogananda so beautifully says here, this shadow play of light and dark, not darkness, but dark, which is the yin and yang, which is the beautiful original duality, in which duality is really the creative force. So originally, duality at the cosmic level was meant to be actually what creates the two polarities, the two forces of magnetism. You see, it is magnetism and electricity that creates creation. It is the electromagnetic force. So you would say it's the magnetic actually attraction between the divine feminine and divine masculine that creates. That is the original wonderful polarity. So that was meant to be entertaining. We were supposed to enjoy it. How wonderful it is that our original higher divine mind was supposed to simply create such incredible creations as big as even an entire universe. I know beings who have the power to create a galaxy. And there are beings who have the power and, of course, use the power to create a universe. And that is actually one of the highest honors. One of the highest honors in cosmos is to create systems of the world. Isn't that incredible? And so, from this big perspective, when it originally was intended to be fun, then of course something went wrong, as you can tell, and it didn't become so fun because instead of having this original incredible really duality that creates, it became a duality that traps, and it became more a trap. Now, some people describe different stories of how this happened. The way that I know it from, my connection to Yogananda, to Babaji, to this lineage of Shiva, lineage of Shakti. And the way that I understand this, and everything that I understand anyway, has to be personal because there's no other way. So, I don't know, is it 100%? Maybe, maybe not. But, it's just all I can share. So hopefully that's useful. But it always makes sense to me is that our DNA is not just the ancestral DNA that we had until recently, which connects us, of course, to our lineage here on this planet with all the dysfunctions of whatever came through the lineage, but so much more that is DNA that is the original cosmic DNA. So since we live in cosmos, which has multitude of universes, within the universes we have unbelievable amount of galaxies. Within the galaxies we have unbelievable amount of systems, solar systems, planets, and then unbelievable amount of beings. Now, this is not that we really, came up with this recently when we are all awakening to this, but even Yogananda spoke about it. And simply, we have so many dimensions with so many realms, and it's even impossible to imagine how many beings exist within the many, many worlds, realms, dimensions of this cosmos. And so it would be impossible that all of us are exactly the same when it comes to this cosmic DNA, because cosmos doesn't want sameness. Sameness would be, like when you live in a little village, which is in the middle of nowhere, and eventually there is no new DNA. Everybody starts marrying everybody, and then you have deterioration of the DNA. So in cosmos is the same way. You don't want to just have exactly the same all the time, because actually the purpose of cosmic creation is expansion. And so for my DNA, it connects like an antenna to certain beings, and for other people, they have different cosmic DNA. It connects like an antenna to different beings, but it actually, in the end, is actually equal, but not the same. So equal, but not the same. Isn't that amazing? It's beautiful how these antennas work. And so for me, this antenna has worked to connect with the beings that we know in this world as Yogananda. Yogananda is really the divine father for our humanity here. And that's why he's coming into the consciousness of so many at the moment. Many young people at the moment are actually suddenly reconnecting to Yogananda's teachings. They are making videos on YouTube, bringing his teachings, into our consciousness. It's pretty amazing. So, Ananda Mai, the wonderful saint who met Yogananda in India, when she saw him for the first time, she started referring to him out of the blue, right? And he was surprised as Father, Father, Father. It's so wonderful to see you for the first time in this world like this. Don't go away, stay with me. So, she recognized him immediately. So Yogananda, he was orchestrating actually the bringing of cosmic DNA into this beautiful planet when there was no life, no expression of life. The earth became ready billions of years ago for the first forms of life. Yogananda was in charge of the portal through which life came, and that was the portal in the Himalayas. Now, if you went to the World Congress on Illumination, maybe you noticed when Patricia spoke about the North Pole and the South Pole, and how the North Pole energy creates a portal in the Himalayas. And she called it the portal of the Northern Hemisphere. Now, that's exactly how I remember that many of us came. We didn't come as what I would call beings, we didn't have, what today we call this form, the face, the arms, the legs. We came so much more as fields of information. And so I remember coming from cosmos as a field of information that was contained in the element of water, and bringing this cosmic DNA with many of you under the supervision of Yogananda through the portal of the Himalayas into Mother Earth. So this is how old this incredible adventure is. So, think about it in terms of billions of years, but that's not even who we truly are. That was just how we actually started life on planet Earth. So all of this is all about expanding planetary spheres to be able to actually carry life forms and create conditions where beings can go and have their changeable experiences. Now, recently, I shared, and also at the World Congress, my experience where I was out of body, and I really wanted to explore the solar worlds that Patricia speaks about as the grand central sun. Now, because out of body, you have incredible, of course, possibilities. And if your energy field is wired a certain way, which means is able to sustain very high frequencies of light and divine electricity, then you are able to enter the worlds that match your energy. Everything in cosmos to me is actually perfectly organized, even though like chaos does happen, but even chaos is organized because everything is electromagnetic. So everything simply goes where it needs to go, everything comes where it can come, and it's actually a perfect organization. So magnetism is the force that simply draws to us experiences. So when our field resonates with these certain frequencies and vibrations, we simply are able to enter worlds that are at the same vibration frequency and intensity, never higher. It's impossible because that would be not beneficial. It probably would destroy us. But we can also go lower. And that's how these masters end up in a world like this, where it's lower, but they are able to enter with that high vibration and frequency. And so I got into the solar world and met with our Divine Father. And what puzzled me so much is the no changing nature of the solar world. It was so perfect. There was no room for improvement. And I was studying in the solar world a grain of sand. This is like how perfection is manifested in these solar worlds. Every grain of solar sand is the most perfect expression of really creativity, and there is no room for improvement. So my experience was that after a while, I thought this, it kind of is almost boring because there is nothing you can do. There is nothing you can work on. There is nothing you can create. And I was kind of puzzled by this experience. But then I looked at Divine Father and I said, well, what about the earth? And he got so excited. And we pointed at the earth and he said, your world is so changeable. And I knew that it was entertaining. And so here we have what explains the colossal entertainment, why the changeable is entertaining. Now, as I was at the World Congress, I got to speak with so many of you. And one of you, I don't know if you are here on the call, Shirley. Shirley is someone who has deep knowledge of the Kabbalah. Now, I don't know anything about the Kabbalah, but when I was 13 years old, I had the experience of the Tree of Life, which I think is a fundamental element of the Kabbalah. And throughout the years, I got to experience many things that I actually would say are Kabbalistic in their mystical nature. I had an encounter with a level of the tree of life that is the closest to the absolute and eventually also going into the absolute. And so, I refer to the Kabbalah without knowing anything about it really. And so Shirley came to me at the World Congress and she gave me a piece that really changed my state of understanding. So she had profound knowledge of the Kabbalah, and she said to me, in the Kabbalah, it is clearly stated, or in the teachings it is known, solar worlds are not changeable. Solar worlds are perfect and are only here in these highest forms of creation, in really the causal plane, to be visited, to recharge, because everything is already perfect. There is no work to be done in these solar worlds. They are more like a recharging station for the beings who then go into the planetary spheres, all planetary spheres. And Shirley told me that in the Kabbalah, it is known that all planetary spheres are spheres where work and change is to be experienced. And that was a missing puzzle piece that I personally didn't have, even though I experienced it. And so that also gives us a new purpose. Since we are on a planetary sphere, this is where things are to be changed, and we are here to do work. Now, I got so excited when she told me this because it suddenly made sense. suddenly it was like, oh my gosh, because the other day Father God appeared and he said to me, do in this world as much as you can. And then he said, but leave nothing undone. Get busy, do as much as you can, and leave nothing undone. And so it is like Patricia says, you are the hands of God, you are the mind of God, you are the heart of God. And so do as much as you can. And so this is the mission. So much to be said, actually. I don't know how long this call will be, but I'm recording it because it's so loaded with information. Because this is a new beginning for us. And since it is a new beginning, not everyone, obviously, we have different gifts, right? And so everyone now shares their gift, just like Shirley and every one of you share their gifts. Look at how it can help another person to actually have a much more complete understanding of something. Isn't that amazing? Because I was really lacking, the understanding why. I felt ashamed that I found these solar worlds so boring eventually. I was like, what's wrong with me? Am I like a recalcitrant soul who cannot appreciate the perfection of a solar world? And no, it is because there was nothing to be done. And so here we are, so much that we can do, of course. So this is an amazing mission. We came here to be in a changeable world, and we do our best every day. And so that's why it makes sense that it is entertaining to be in a changeable world. Imagine all the changes that we can now initiate from our own being in this world. It's amazing. So this gets me really excited. So I'm going to share everything that I got to experience. So, when we sit in the audience, for example, at the World Congress, it's a lot of sitting, obviously, but there's a reason why a lot of sitting actually is very beneficial for the opening of your third eye and for calming down your nervous system. It is basically the fundamental state for deep meditation. So I could see that a lot of people were falling asleep in their chairs, but that's okay because that's really deep meditation when you think about it. And so when you relax your nervous system to that state, when you really feel deeply, deeply, deeply relaxed, and then you start focusing on your third eye, then now and again it can happen that the third eye actually opens and opens wide. And then you can watch all the wonderful things that are actually taking place that are not normally visible. And so that was my experience, not all the time, but definitely enough to be able to share what actually really happened during the World Congress. And so, first of all, let me start with a little bit of that. Again, millions of years, we only knew a world that actually was fallen. People call it fall from grace, and we keep repeating it, and maybe we forget what it means to fall from grace. Falling from grace is actually when our multidimensional spine broke. In the physical, our spine, when it breaks, it's pretty detrimental for our experience of life. Any spinal injury, as some of you might know, would be a very painful experience for the way that you carry yourself in this world. So when our multidimensional spine broke, that was what we call fall from grace. Why is that? Because the multidimensional spine is like an antenna. I was showing it on the stage when I was presenting at the World Congress, that there is a structure that we all used to have before the fall, and that structure went beyond the physical spine. It simply extended through the crown, and then it went all the way up to our 12th chakra. And then the 12th chakra was really the most intense source light of our own divine self that was illuminating through the spinal column, through this pillar of light, illuminating us not only as the human being here in this dimension, but also our higher dimensional bodies. And so it was almost as if we were a being who had a very tall antenna moving through the crown up into the 12th chakra. And then we would have luminous sun at the top of the structure, sending, really shining the light of our divine self with all the 12 qualities, the 12 colors of the rainbow through the structure. And it was constantly creating our rainbow body shining through the 12 chakra system through our spine, and we would be in this pillar of light all the time. As we walked, as we moved, as we spoke, as we did something, this pillar of light would really be what Jesus referred to as the son, the daughter of God. So, for example, Yogananda, he spoke about this structure himself and how he was always aware of this structure. He never became unaware of it. And that is really the goal for all of us, to be constantly aware of this multidimensional spine. This multidimensional spine is absolutely essential to our embodiment of the divine self. It is not that we need to do something, we just need to align with it, liberate all the nonsense from the lower human self, allow it to shine, and there is a shortcut, and the shortcut is here as you see it, and it is in the heart center. When the heart center is fully open to its highest capacity for love, then this entire structure just simply flows in. So in a way, the heart and love, even though love sounds very romantic, it's actually a very mystical state of being. It is the highest state of being. So the highest state of being is absolute love. And absolute love, absolute is 100%. It's not 99. And so what happened, of course, in the past, our heart center is closed, as you know, and we all experienced that, not only because of this lifetime, but many others. And so we stopped living in the highest state of love. Now, the highest state of love is the highest state of energetic openness. Now, because we are energy beings, we are also masters of energy. So you can imagine mastery is 100%. If someone is at the level of 99%, it is not yet mastery. And so the masters of energy simply are also beings who have 100% of openness through love. So we had many mystical teachings in the past, and some of them no longer will be applicable the way that they were given, because they were given for the civilization that came before this moment, and also for the generations, of course. But always in all teachings, there was an element of love as a fundamental teaching in each philosophy and religion. And that's because love actually is a state, and it is our true divine state. And that love is simply who we are as beings of light in cosmos. We are actually absolutely 100% beings of love. And that allows us to receive life force from source. As you can imagine, the more open our system is, the more we can receive. There is no one who is judging our ability to receive. There is no one in this big cosmic creation who actually judges our ability to open up to more. Everything is like nature. A small flower is beautiful. A big flower is beautiful. There is always equal beauty in all. A small star is beautiful, and a big sun is beautiful. And so, it can be very liberating when we let go of the possibility of thinking that someone is judging us. Really, no one is. We simply have experiences in cosmos here on planet Earth, which are determined by our ability to simply be who we truly are. So there is so much to unpack now that we have these big revelations happening. So it again comes to relax, let go, trust, and surrender. So as we together move through this ascension process, I will be sharing as often as I can, whenever I'm free to share, which simply is a matter of time, nothing else. And so probably no longer will this be exactly the new moon and the full moon, unless it's a month when it's possible for me. But we will simply keep sharing together and moving through this ascension process together this way. And so again, this is a new beginning. Everything that we have known until now has actually ended. So I'm going to take us a little bit through what just happened. In 2006, I was living in Berlin, in Germany. I was meditating a lot, and I had that big question. And I asked, what is ascension? I really, my consciousness didn't know at that point, but I heard people speaking about it. I've shared this story before, but it's important to what is unfolding here today. And so my guides, which is the Hopi tribe, which they call the Hopi people, the native tribe that today live on a reservation in Arizona, east of the Grand Canyon, east of Flagstaff. My family of these Hopi star beings came to me, and they did something that really shocked me. They took me through a Stargate. And I'm not much of a science fiction person, but definitely this creation is one big science fiction. And so, in the field of the earth are openings, and these openings are natural, and they are simply the result of the flow and concentration of nature. And when these openings open like a flower that perfectly beautifully opens, when the sun is shining during the day and then it closes again. So these portals work exactly the same way. Everything in nature really can be applied to not only this nature that we know here in this planet, but also to the big nature like the planetary nature, galactic, universal, and cosmic. And so they took me through a portal that I would call a star gate. And what it allowed us to see was the true reality, which is not seen here. Yogananda spoke about this too. He said that because we live in this false matrix that was created by, forces of darkness, and these forces we will soon speak about and reveal their true nature, who manipulated this reality. He spoke about it too. He said because we are in this false matrix, then even our technology and our science can only get to know the false matrix. So imagine if the false matrix is a bubble and it's a sphere that has a boundary. It has a boundary. It's like a ball. And so if we are a little planet inside the ball, then everything we can get to know is only what is inside the ball. But because inside the ball is not true divine reality, we can only describe the false matrix, which also includes our really system. That's why the solar system doesn't show all the planets. That's why our system of the worlds is not showing, because we only are inside the ball. Well, this is the end of the ball. And so when beings in the past wanted to get to know the true divine reality, they had to go through these natural openings within the Earth's energy field to be able to exit the ball. And sometimes, in the past, you might have seen pictures of this. Our ancient people knew this. And I think they referred to this as the firmament. And so, my Hopi guides were able to guide me through the portal, and we ended up in a true divine reality. And in a true divine reality, you see actually all the planets within our system. You actually see all the suns that, for example, Patricia speaks about, the 12 suns with the 144 planets. As soon as you leave the ball, you actually see all of it. You are not limited by this eyesight that you have now, but you are actually able to use true sight, which allows you to see the vastness of the system that we are part of. So in 2006, I was able to see the system that we are part of thanks to the Hopi guides. And they showed me that within the system of the worlds that we are part of is a rainbow serpent of creation that the Aboriginal people in Australia, for example, speak about. And they said that ascension will be when this rainbow serpent moves, and she moves through the entire system of the worlds, and that she, in her body, will move. She's consciousness. She is the bringer of life to these planets. And so I saw her move through every single planet. Every single planet and the sun became actually elements of her body, and she rose. And because she suddenly was flying, she became the flying serpent that, of course, we call a dragon. And as this serpent becomes the dragon, ascension is complete. This ascension, of course, there will be ascensions beyond ascensions, but this ascension is the rising of the rainbow serpent, and for her to become the dragon, and then she turned into new expression of DNA. I clearly saw that we will have new DNA. So this is in 2006. And so if you were on a call with us on July 11th and 12th, it was actually something unbelievable happened. And I'm not a person who ever spoke about dragons except for this experience here and some experiences recently, but I know that a lot of people around the world right now are connecting with this amazing energy. And this is actually the energy of the Elohim. The Elohim are the builders of form. And in our ancient traditions around the world, they were actually depicted as dragons. And so this is quite incredible, this revelation that took place on July 11 and 12, when I would say a group of human beings received an incredible upgrade of DNA, where the DNA that they had until that moment, which was the ancestral dysfunctional DNA, with all the incredibly painful memories of obviously the generations before us, was deleted and replaced by the Elohim DNA. Now, this, I got to see this on July 11th and 12th, but ever since then, I hear a lot of seers from all around the world reporting on this. And they just reported on this recently. They were saying it happened on 888. It may be happening in stages, but the first time I saw it was actually July 11th and 12th. And it was not just myself, it was a group of people. And I always say, I don't know if I see everyone. And so I always hope that it is everyone. But if it happens in stages, that also is wonderful, wonderful news. And so they replaced the old ancestral human DNA with the dragon DNA. The next day, I kept hearing mother of dragons. And then again, the seers around the world are now reporting about the dragon mother. So it's very, very interesting. Just to say how it is, we don't have to understand it all. But when this happened, we basically received new DNA. Now, this is, of course, life-changing. New DNA means new ability to project reality, no longer limited by the old consciousness, and especially old unconsciousness, but now having a field of new information within you. And finally now, this new beginning is what the traditions like Buddhism trying to teach us, or Taoism. Just be. Now is the time of beingness. Now is the time where the false spirituality, which always told us you're not perfect, you have to work on yourself, you never will be perfect, and past life this and past life that, all this nonsense that is actually no longer important will really be irrelevant. Now is the time for the new. Of course, these traditions, some of them also knew about the original truth, that when your DNA is completely clean and clear, when there is nothing to actually be worked on at this level of consciousness, then you are a walking field of solutions. And the solutions will be brought into your awareness, and you will project them onto the field of this reality. That doesn't mean that we are completely lazy and do nothing, but beingness is very much what the Tao Te Ching teaches. Together here, we will be studying the Tao Te Ching from the depth of really the love and the presence of Divine Mother, instead of the intellectual understanding that so many people had of the Tao Te Ching. We will go into the depth of it with Divine Mother, so that we have clear instructions for this new time, this golden age. And so now the beingness is not lazy. In the Tao Te Ching, it's always about doing and not doing. What does it mean, doing and not doing? It simply is that inspiration comes from this new field of our new Elohim DNA, which is called the dragon DNA. The dragon DNA, it's the upgrade from the serpent into the dragon. Many people will speak about this now, because this is exactly what's happening, and it happened. This is the new DNA. It looks very similar to this. We are a walking field of of information, walking field of solutions. We don't have to come up with solutions now through, the reason. The reason was like, oh, how do I figure this out? Now it's more like, I have every solution for absolutely everything. Let me just pull it into my awareness from my own field. And the field is not your own, of course, because it's not only within you, it's all around you, connecting us to all that is. This is the interconnectedness now, really manifest through our new DNA. This is so huge that, after the ascension is complete, all of this will be forgotten. None of this will be remembered. But right now, it is good to remember these things as we move through the ascension process until it is complete. We are a walking field of solutions. This is a new operating system. Of course, the seraphim, have always been depicted as dragons, the Elohim as dragons. These are such primordial, really ancient beings within creation. And today people laugh at us, when we mention dragons. And honestly, I really didn't know much about them until very recently. And so we are now opening our consciousness to these primordial, ancient beings of creation that we call Elohim and Seraphim. So we are their seeds. We are their seeds. As you know, everything in nature, cosmic mother nature, still works exactly like a tree of life. The most appropriate tree of life we can actually think about to explain who we are, what creation is actually an apple tree. And so we had that crazy story about Adam and Eve. Everything now will make sense. Whatever we thought was a story that was just repeated, that was a reason for these things to be repeated. Hi, Lucrecia. And so the tree of life as an apple tree is the most perfect tree to explain to us creation. How so? As you know, the myth that tells us about the apple and so on and so on, it's just so upside down. Everything was really inverted in the inverted matrix. And so let's look at the truth behind the tree of life, just so that we know who we are. In cosmos, there is a cosmic tree of life. Within a universe, there is a universal tree of life. Beings are a tree of life. A planet is a tree of life. You and me are trees of life. As everything in creation is destined to become an expanded version of itself, it simply follows the principles where from a seed that sprouts, we have a tree that starts growing to eventually start blossoming, which is the blossoming of consciousness, and then to give fruit, which we call the harvest, of course. Harvest, which means tree of life now gives apples as the fruit of life. Within the fruit of life is the five-pointed star, which is the perfect manifestation of the 5 elements of creation. We only have 5 elements of creation within cosmos, and they create incredible combinations within all worlds that we call the planetary spheres. And so then the apple of life falls on the ground. That's again the harvest. It opens up its treasure. The treasures are the seeds. And from the seeds, we have new, again, tree of life that starts growing. So this is really how evolution in cosmos works. It's very simple. That means we all are to expand to be the healthiest, best, most flowering tree of life that gives fruit and seeds to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And so here we are. We are the seeds of the Elohim that are now activated in our DNA to be in our full power. This is full power. No more disempowerment. Remind yourself every day, all the time, you now have new DNA. This is referred to as dragon DNA. If a dragon is too much, just say Elohim DNA. And some people refer to this as the divine DNA. So we can take it to the neutral divine DNA. So something for everyone. So as we walk in this field of divine DNA, we are now truly a walking field of solution. Every solution is now in our field, which means, our divine self, as we were practicing together, go shopping into that infinite, unlimited field of your divine self. Every solution already exists within this field. Now it is the truth that the queendom of heaven, as well as the kingdom of heaven, now is not only within us, but it also surrounds us. So this is truly a new beginning. This will be life-changing. Also, you will hear many people speaking about who we have become, and Divine Mother has been saying this for the longest time. We are now living, breathing beings. Our bodies have changed, and we will speak about, I'm just going to write down what we're going to speak about. So tomorrow we will speak about the body and how it is changing and has changed. But also I wanted to do a video here with you where we will unveil who were the forces of darkness. Not that it's important now, but just to realize what happened on planet Earth and who was operating this world that was actually invisible to 99% of people. So I think that would be just interesting. And so I would remind ourselves every day, we are walking fields of solutions. Walking fields of solution. We will do these calls tomorrow as well. We will go deeper. There's a lot to be unveiled right now. We are living, breathing beings. We have become natural again. And not that we were artificial. It was not so obvious, but we had elements within our bodies that were not natural. We had forces within our bodies that were not natural, and that's why very often in many traditions the body was considered to be the sinner. And we will speak about it. Why was the body considered a burden, and now it is not? The body no longer is a burden, now it's a gift. And so as it is a gift now, we are living, breathing beings. There's one thing, if you've been listening to Patricia and you came to the World Congress, Patricia has been repeating many things for many decades. Some people find it boring when it's repeated, but actually there is power in repetition. That's why mantras are so powerful. Because anytime when you need a solution, you might just say to yourself, I'm a walking field of solutions. I'm a walking field of solutions. I'm a living, breathing being. Sorry, I was reading the question here. I'm a living, breathing being. So now is the power of breath. If you watch the videos, so we have 5 videos from the World Congress on Illumination. I posted them on YouTube and included them in the email. So just you can click on the pictures that are in the email. These videos, please keep magnetizing them, energizing them. We will keep doing that together until this ascension is complete. They are incredibly powerful. This was the final World Congress on Illumination, and why? Because for millions of years, we kept coming here to this planet to work on that one thing. This is the reason why Kalashwar came. This is the reason why Yogananda came. This is the reason why you and me came. This is actually the reason why the Elohim have been working with humanity. This is the reason why the avatars kept coming to planet Earth. To do what? To reverse the fall. To reverse the fall of what? Our multidimensional spines. To reverse the fall of the planetary axis, to reverse the fall of the planetary grid. And that has been achieved now in August 2024. And so the purpose for the World Congress on Illumination all these 38 years was, as Patricia states it, to reverse the adverse effects of the fall from grace. Now, because it was accomplished this August 2024, Patricia operates the way that everyone should operate in this world. It is not a business. It is not a business to do these congresses. It is a mission. And when a mission is complete, and we have to honor every completion. And that's why business is not a very good way of operating in this world. Because if you have a business, you have to keep doing something. But actually, when you have a mission, when it's complete, it is done. And so I was quoting when I was presenting from the Tao Te Ching, and this really referred to the World Congress on Illumination. In the Tao Te Ching, translated by Stephen Mitchell, the master is often referred to as she. And so this was a verse, it's verse 24 from the Tao Te Ching. The master acts, and when she is done, everyone says, "We did it, and we did it by ourselves." And so to me, this was really exactly how this all has worked. It is not about a person, it's not about someone leading, and it's actually about this subtle leadership. And that it's about empowering everyone to accomplish these missions together. And so it is done. And so that's why it is so huge. The completion is truly the reversal of the fall. Now, what happened during the fall? I was there when the planetary grid fell, and I don't remember all these experiences. I just remember everything my divine self gave me as a true memory so that I can work with it in this lifetime, only that which is useful. It's, Yogananda was so bored of his own past lives. He said, "This is so boring because it's not important." It's not important who we were in this trapped world where we had the artificial, really, reincarnation recycling system. It was all a trap. So it's not interesting what happened within the trap. It's not interesting what happened within the balloon. Now it's the time for liberation from the balloon, and it will pop. And so I have some memories that were important simply to serve this mission. And one of the memories to serve this mission was the experience of the fall. When the planetary grid fell, we all went into amnesia. And to be honest with you, we still very much so are in this amnesia. We are waking up, but we have not yet woken up. So what we experience here is still a dream. It is still a state of asleepness. And we all will be fully woken up when the ascension is complete. So that's why when we wake up fully, we will not remember this nightmare. And, for some of you, this is not a nightmare. You have good lives. But for many, it is a nightmare. And so when this big event happens here, where we go through the, completion of this ascension, we will all wake up from this dream and we will forget it. It will be like one of those dreams that you will like, "Oh, I don't know what I dreamt." And it's fine. It will be just like that. But we fell asleep during the fall. But we fell asleep and we still existed. So we would say we were alive. We still would walk and talk, but our brain no longer functioned the way it used to. And because the planetary grid fell, we no longer had the channel of truth. The planetary grid is like a TV channel, and we simply tune into it. When it is completely healthy and intact, then we are all receiving a collective reality that is transmitted through the planetary grid. And when it fell, it broke like a spider web. So it no longer was able to transmit information. And our brains were no longer able to receive it. And because I remember it when it happened exactly, and how suddenly we all started to fall asleep, and then we suddenly were asleep. It is exactly like the fairy tale that is so important for this, which is the Sleeping Beauty. The Sleeping Beauty is the story of the fall. And so her entire queendom fell asleep with her, but they were actually sleeping, but that's us. We are the sleeping people in the queendom of the Sleeping Beauty, and the prince has to kiss her. Who is the prince? Who kisses the bride is the sun. So what just happened in August here during the World Congress is when the Earth, and it happened on August 14th, is now being prepared for her wedding. And the wedding is her wedding, which means getting married again to Father Son. This is also profound, and of course all these fairy tales will make sense now too. We kept knowledge hidden. It had to be hidden. Why did knowledge have to be hidden? I will tell you, and I'm sure that you know anyway, but I just want to spell it out how it is. Since the balloon of the false matrix was like a prison cell, the prison guards were in a different dimension that was not visible to us. And so we didn't know that we were in a prison. We didn't know there were prison guards. So we couldn't see them. And so we lived our lives, and sometimes we enjoyed life. And that's why Yogananda said, and also Bhagavad Gita spoke about, don't go for joy and don't seek joy as the counterpart of pain. It was all about get away from the seeking of joy and avoiding pain. Be as neutral as you can within the false matrix. Now, it never made sense to anyone because everybody thought, of course, joy is great. I want my pleasure. I want pleasure over pain. Nobody would say pleasure is bad. It's nice to feel good. But he was just saying the trap of this balloon matrix within which the earth was trapped was actually operating with that false duality. The false duality is everything that we actually knew. We only knew false duality. I'm going to speak about this tomorrow. False duality. I'm just writing it down. The false duality actually created a trap, and the trap was the good and evil. The trap was pain and pleasure. The trap was good and bad. The trap was lack and then abundance, even, meaning as a contrast to lack. So everything that had this duality where one part of it is always painful and not nice to experience, that all was false duality that kept us here imprisoned. So these prison guards were invisible to us. And that, of course, is incredible, right? When somebody's operating a system and you cannot see them, and then everybody's living their life thinking this is how the world is. And I was going somewhere with this. It will come to me. But during the World Congress on Illumination, actually, all of this has ended. During the World Congress on August 13, darkness fell. And darkness meaning not what I said before, dark and light, but now I mean true darkness. The prison guards. And there were many, many different layers to those. And so now there is this liberation happening. So again, a huge difference. So let's take a quick look. What do you think? If we do a little bit more, maybe 15 minutes and then continue tomorrow, would that be okay? Okay. So for me, again, I speak about it from this perspective of what has been restored within us. Until recently, we worked with so many techniques. Yogananda introduced the Kriya Yoga, which was really essential. Even really Yogananda was just addressing the generations and the civilization actually that was fallen, because ascension was not a thing. Ascension really became a thing when we knew we can make it this time. And again, just going back to this amnesia, this amnesia really disabled us. When I wanted to actually, this is where I was going with this. The prison guards, sorry, it just came to me. I have to mention that. Why did we hide all truth in fairy tales, in stories, in even religions and religious stories? We had to hide the truth so much that when someone would read the Bible or whatever holy book, the truth would absolutely not be obvious. It would seem like something so obvious, but it would absolutely not be the truth. Because these prison guards really were guarding this world in that way that they didn't want the truth to ever be revealed. So if anyone found the truth, they had to hide the truth, so that when these prison guards scanned this world from actually technology, it was just like the movie Matrix, they would scan this world, and if there was truth in this world, they would go and attack it. That's why so many, avatars and all these beings who came with the truth, they were severely attacked. because the prison guards, which were the forces of darkness, would of course never want the truth to be revealed to humanity. So if anyone knew the truth through meditation, if anyone brought the truth, because we will speak about the forces of darkness tomorrow. So they would scan this world very easily, just like today you have the internet, everything is known on the web. And of course, if we wanted to search the web, we will find everything we want. It was the same way. With the technology that they had, they would always be able to scan the entire earth and see if someone is actually sharing the truth and putting them at danger. They never wanted to be actually revealed, right? Because then, it's incredible. But if people feel free, then there is no revolt. So people felt free all around the world, right? So there was no revolt against the forces of darkness. But if someone knew the truth, they had to hide it, because then when the world got scanned, let's say someone wrote a story like The Sleeping Beauty, well, the prison guards also didn't have divine consciousness. So with the technology that they use, if someone puts the truth in a story of Sleeping Beauty, then the prison guards will scan it and say, oh, okay, stupid fairy tale for kids. But that's exactly what had to happen. Every big truth had to be completely hidden in a story. This is also, personally, I do truly believe from my experience, this is the story of the crucifixion of Jesus, which is a big story, but to me it hides unbelievable truth, which is not the story itself. It shows us how to activate our light body. And again, it had to be hidden in a story that millions would read and say, oh, okay, this is exactly how it happened, and let's cry about it, it's so sad. But actually there is so much more to it. And this is in every story. But this is now no more. Now is the time of revelation. So now the revelations will be huge and we will be so shocked. Because, so that's why all the big truth had to be hidden in stories that these prison guards would not recognize for the truth, because they were not operating in divine consciousness. And so they would let it pass through their system. So this was amazing. This is just amazing. Okay, so I'll quickly go to what happened during the World Congress and what led to it. So I'm just going to say, when I was a little girl, I had visitations from my Hopi grandmother. This is just a random picture from the internet of the Hopi people. The Hopi people are actually star beings. They are part of a lineage that is a very big lineage that comes from the grand central sun. They are actually the children of sun. In higher realms, they are not referred to as Hopi, but they actually have a sound. In cosmic words, we have cosmic languages. The word is Ho-Pi. So not ho, but Ho-Pi. Doesn't matter, not, but it's just interesting. And so when I meet with them in higher realms, they are Ho-Pi people. Now, they come from the lineage of the sun. The children of the sun also have a sound, and the sound of all children of the sun is Inti. This word is still contained in the lineages of the Keros people in Peru. So if you go to Peru, you will still hear the word Inti. We are the children of the sun. And so the Hopi are the same lineage as the Tibetans. They are the same lineages as many native peoples of this world. And so because we have all many different lineages, just so that it's not just about the Hopi people. So the Hopi people, they had big land, and they of course didn't have fences and boundaries and borders when they inhabited this planet the way that they don't now. And they were on the land that we today call Sedona, the Grand Canyon, all the land around Flagstaff today in Arizona, and now of course on the very impoverished reservation in Arizona. So when I was 4 years old, I got visited by a Hopi grandmother, and she gave me an initiation and understanding of what we are to do and experience in this lifetime. She talked about something so important to you and me, which will make sense to you and me, and that was purification of the heart. How essential and important is the purification of the heart? To have a pure heart. And what does it mean? It is what we spoke about at the beginning. Only when the heart is 100%, not 99% pure, that means open and completely loving, loving all life free, only then can we be in our divine self. The divine self cannot be fully expressed if there is an impurity in the heart. All impurities of the heart were introduced by the forces of evil that came into this world during the land of Mu, during the civilization of Mu. And again, we will speak about that tomorrow. How they actually brought toxicity of what we call cosmic evil into this world. And so, focusing on the purification of the heart was an important process in all the mysteries. For example, even the teachings, of course, of Kriya Yoga, every teaching I can think of, even religions like Christianity, it in the end was about having a pure, loving heart. As the Divine Mother says, loving all life, which is the capital L, not these little lifetimes here, which are illusion and a dream, but loving all life. And that doesn't mean that, we start sending love to some evil beings. None of that. That was part of the illusion too. This was actually not at all how this goes. But we are to become pure children of the sun. What is a child of the sun? It means you too are now a son. And I don't mean S-O-N, like daughter and son, but I mean S-U-N. You now are the one who illuminates. And the illuminator is actually completely unconditional. The illuminator is the neutral expression of our being. And this is the key to beingness. When you are what you are, which means the most important mantra that you can actually say is, I am that I am. What does it mean? When you are what you are this. When you are what you are the walking field of solutions, nothing else and nothing more. This is who we are. This is where it is. I am that I am. And that's it. There is nothing else to it. There is no definition to it. Once we start defining, once we say, I am this and I am that, we actually limit who we are. I am that I am is the most expanded state of who we are. Now, when I go into my seventh chakra and beyond, all I can hear is a sound. And the sound is always, I am that I am. This is actually one of those activities we did with Patricia and one of the videos that we made. And that is connecting with the lotus flower and with actually the vortex above your head. Sorry, not the lotus flower, with the elemental vortex of ether above your crown and stating, I am that I am. Sorry. And so I am that I am means I am that I am. There's nothing else to it. I am a pure heart. I am the illuminator. I am the sun. And I just have a hummingbird in front of the window, which is amazing. They always come, just to confirm that what we speak about is exactly what the cosmic mother nature wants us to speak about. And so in 2021, the beings that are actually honored and recognized by the Hopi people, they call them Kachina. I think maybe the Navajo also call them Kachinas, I don't know, but many different tribes, of course, saw these beings. These are supernatural beings in cosmos, and they have been part of the Earth's evolution, and they still are part of Earth's evolution. Thank you, John. That's beautiful. That's exactly what I saw here. So the Kachinas, today you say the Hopi people also lost a lot of knowledge, of course, unless you are in deep meditation, how are you going to know what's new? So you can be repeating all the old stuff, but, things get lost in translation. But these Kachinas in 2021 did something incredible. These beings came and they moved Mother Earth to what Patricia calls the new coordinates within within this universe. So this all led to the fulfillment of what just happened. The Earth no longer is within the same place in this universe. And what happened on August 14 during the World Congress, I like to put a date on it because, it's interesting. On August 14th, during the World Congress, Patricia was transmitting an activation, which she was, speaking, just observing it. I don't think she was reading it because it was happening. And she was describing what's happening. And what happened is that a new flow was re-established in the arm of the Milky Way where the Earth is. We didn't have that flow. We didn't have the flow of energy and light for millions of years because our planetary grid was broken. But the last few years have been absolutely groundbreaking for the planetary actually life that we are here upon. And so we must honor this planet that allows us to experience really creation, that it allows us to be in a changeable world. We must be grateful that we are here, sent on a mission to do the work. It's a great honor. Honestly, I really think that no beings get to stay in the solar world forever because that would be like a waste of their potential. Maybe we go to recharge, but now we are here on this amazing mission. So we roll our sleeves up and get the DNA working. And so the Earth is a new place and we have a new flow of energy. So let's take a look what happened on, maybe I'll talk about this tomorrow, but I will go to what just happened at the World Congress. So on August 13th, the forces of darkness that have been part of this false, trapped reality have fallen. So again, we'll speak about the depth of this tomorrow. It just will be interesting. To me, it's just fascinating because I got to meet the forces of darkness as every mystic had to. There would be no complete understanding of this reality if a mystic didn't get to know both sides of the story, the angels and the demons, which I think is the true story of planet Earth. To me, a lot of spirituality has been a little bit of fluff, especially sometimes even what we call the light worker community. Without the knowledge of the darkness, it really was childlike. But we need to know the seriousness actually of what we were truly facing. And that I would say was really by design. And I mean the artificial design, not easily accessible. There is a story, and I think Gurge shared this with me when Yogananda actually was killed and his heart was stopped by the forces of darkness, and he could not actually bring himself back to life, and his guru, right, had to help him. Thank you, Gurge. And so to me, it just tells me, how much of interference, of course, and I would say this was like 100% interference on planet Earth, there was until really recently. And so obviously they didn't want the truth here. They didn't want the beings of truth here. And Yogananda was an incredible force of truth because he was not contaminated. He never got contaminated by them. So of course, these forces of darkness, they always wanted to tempt these avatars. That's why we have the stories of temptation of the Buddha and of Jesus. And they wanted to tempt with, of course, the elements of this reality that was so tempting, all the things like power and sex and all these stuff and money and fame. Those were the elements that they found to be very attractive for everyone who said yes to these forces. And so again, this is a new beginning and also a huge end after millions of years. Yeah, the gratification of the senses. And so just a quick overview again, I don't want to keep you here too long. All of this will be sealed and completed like a stamp, like a seal. Like when you are writing a letter and you're writing a letter, in the olden days where you have ink and that beautiful pen, and you're writing the letter and you put it in this beautiful envelope, and then you take that, I don't know, was it wax? And then you just put a seal on it, stamp it, and close that chapter. To me, that seal, the red wax, right? You seal it, and stamp it on 11/11/2024. And this sealing will actually happen on the Hopi land that is known as the Grand Canyon. And why? This is because the end of Atlantis, that was an attempt to clean this world from evil, actually didn't succeed, as you know. because the beings who emerged, and when they emerged from the Grand Canyon. We had points of emergence, but of course that's the point of emergence of the fourth world, which is now, came from the Grand Canyon. And so contamination, unfortunately, came with the beings. And so because this contamination came too, the sealing of this contamination will have to happen on, obviously, in the same place, and it will be a process that will take 3 days, and it will be November 9, 10th, and 11th. And several of you will be participating in this sealing of this incredible millions of years old chapter. So what is so wonderful, of course, so many of you work with Patricia, if not all of you. So I just heard from Patricia yesterday, and she said that we will continue working with her, Green Tara, and Patricia in ways where we'll be guided to. And so, again, we will have most probably online events with Patricia as our team and to fulfill these incredible missions together. So that's very good. And also confirming, it's always validating, when we are seen for the purity of our hearts and for the selfless service that we provide to this world and humanity, of course. So thank you for that. Should I continue for a few minutes? That's just to quickly give an overview. I don't want it to be too long. Okay. And it's recorded, so you can go back to okay, wonderful. So on August 14th, it was the complete transformation of the planetary grid. So what happened was, this is truly where the victory is ours. This is so new, so groundbreaking. It was the most incredible thing. It was not recorded the way that Patricia was transmitting this. So it was part of the activities that were not recorded, not shared on YouTube, but I just want to share what I observed myself. And then Ara and Emmy helped me take notes, write it all down, because there was so much that happened. So thank you for that as well. So on August 14th, the planetary grid was completely restored to this, actually what you see here, very similar to this, where all the nodes, and the nodes are important, the nodes are compared to the acupuncture points on our own physical bodies. It means every single one of them has been restored, and they look like spheres, very large spheres of diamond light. Every single one of them is healthy and restored. We also aligned, again, the planetary axis, which actually we already co-created this amazing video transmission and activity, which many of you supported so beautifully, which Patricia showed during the World Congress. And that actually happened last year. But this is the magnetic alignment of the planetary axis, which again is the tree of life. So again, that was even more empowered. So the planetary axis now looks like this, and this is the magnetic planetary axis. So we are back in alignment with divine reality. I cannot really speak much about Atlantis. I only remember really a few things from Atlantis. And one of them, which you might find interesting, and I hope Patricia wouldn't mind me sharing, is that, for example, Patricia was, of course, a being that was part of the Atlantean civilization. And the reason why she's doing what she's doing in this lifetime is because she knows we missed our opportunity for the shift of the ages due to the fall of Atlantis. So if you wanted to see Patricia in Atlantis, then you would have to look at, for example, the Egyptian hieroglyphs, where they had those beings with very long skull, the elongated skull, and that would be Patricia. So hopefully she doesn't mind me sharing this. So Atlantis definitely was, obviously all of us were in Atlantis, and I don't know how many lifetime we had. I only remember 2. I remember the end of Atlantis, of course, where we made the promise that this would never ever happen again. So on August 14th was something quite magical that happened. And this was known during the time of Atlantis. Atlanteans spoke about the 12 families of Atlantis, but actually what I saw on August 14th were 13 families that came together, and 13 families of our humanity. These are genetic lineages that have been part of our evolution here on planet Earth. On August 14th, these 13 families came together as one. They came together not to be exactly the same and not to become just one, meaning all the same. they will now maintain their uniqueness. So we also speak about the 13 crystal skulls, I believe. And so these 13 genetic families of the earth and humanity that were known during Atlantis, they came together to reunify. So this to me will bring peace to humanity. So no more the feeling of separation. Another thing that took place, so you see, August 14th was a huge day. So on the 13th, of course, um, I see that Mother Earth is having an earthquake like right now somewhere in Russia, 7.4. It's just happening right now. So, Mother Earth is going to go through many different changes. But on August 14th, what happened? It was the day after darkness fell. So, darkness fell on August 13th during the World Congress, given all the activities that took place. And then the next day, every molecule, and, molecules are the building blocks of life. So you can imagine everything on this planet, including viruses, is made of molecules, including our DNA. And so on August 14th, every single molecule, all of them, all molecules on this planet, in every, blade of grass, in every molecule of life was transformed and upgraded to a higher expression of itself. That's huge. So our bodies will be changing even more. So now our molecules are just, upgraded in a way that we can receive more consciousness, more solar light. Yeah, and Gurga, please share all the dreams. You can email me or share it here. For me, it's hard to read things in a chat, but like I like to know what others are experiencing. Mm-hmm. And so what happened on August 14th? A lot happened on August 14th. This will be all on YouTube. I'll upload it today. And so let's do 7 more minutes and then we'll conclude. On August 14th, the DNA of the Earth changed. Now, I watched it, like when I watch it, it's, again, not always is it possible to fully open your third eye, but I do my best, like sitting in the audience, like obviously there's disturbances, but there is a process that the yogis use that I've been teaching, and so that's what I use to open the third eye, so that it's not random visions, but so that it's seeing into the field. And so on August 14th, the DNA of the Earth, because she has her DNA, was actually completely healed and restored. Now, this is huge. So, Patricia speaks about the crystals that the Elohim placed within the grids of the Earth. And she mentioned that this actually is the DNA of the Earth. And to me, that was fascinating because I saw how the DNA of the Earth has been healed. The other thing that has happened, which I mentioned here, is that on August 14th, the Earth was given a new garment. She was dressed by the Elohim and by all the beings who have worked on this project, of course, for millions of years. And now she is in her bridal dress. And so she will be, and this is just a way to express what's going to be happening, of course, through the solar flash. She will be getting married to our father sun. So to me, it's what the beings are describing again as, this solar flash that will happen. And so we are now being really activated, influenced, and affected by completely new energies like never before that we probably remember, which is millions of years. So what's flowing through the body now is new. The body has to change to be able to receive it all. And so I think this is enough for today, right? Is a lot. But I just wanted to mention actually one final thing, and that will be this. On July 13th, I reported on what happened within Cosmos. And that affects all life, actually, within Cosmos. But of course, we are here on this planet, so it affects all life on this planet. When this cosmic cycle, we have many cosmic cycles, of course, and this cosmic cycle is so long we cannot even describe it in, human terms and years. So this cosmic cycle had a little glitch in it. It was really a musical glitch because creation is all about sound. Sound creates. So imagine, we have different frequencies of sound. And simply there was one little musical glitch. It was as if like you, who might be someone who plays an instrument, you played an instrument, and of course sound creates, and then suddenly you hit the wrong chord. And so you are off tone. And so there's nothing wrong with it just doesn't sound good. So the same thing happened within creation. You could say that 90% of it sounded good in this cosmic cycle, but there was 10% that didn't sound good. It simply was off tone, off tune. And so whatever was off tune actually led to a result that we call evil, but we can call it in a more beautiful way simply impure nature. Impure nature as the adversary. What did this impure nature create is the beings known as Satan, and then all the different demons and all the different hierarchies of demonic beings we will speak about tomorrow, the princes of darkness. So this impure nature simply was a little mistake, musical imperfection within creation. So that was the origin of cosmic evil. You know, I was given this knowledge really just through not only Yogananda, but what's beyond, and that is Source itself. And so it's big. And it's so big that, you know, cosmic cycle is very big. So it's not just, you know, evil here on planet Earth. This was actually cosmic evil. Very small percentage of creation, of course. Like I said, maybe 10% at the most, if at all, maybe even less. So not a big deal and nothing overwhelming. It could have never overwhelmed the light, but it led to what we call the war between the angels and demons, which was real and which really played out in the fourth dimension and here on planet Earth in the physical reality. So on July 13th, there was a cosmic moment that is a continuation of a big process. Again, we will speak about this tomorrow, where this impure nature, but also pure nature, both were integrated into the oneness of the Maha Prakriti. Maha Prakriti is in cosmic language, cosmic Mother Nature. And cosmic Mother Nature originated in Source, in the Creator, in cosmic terms again known as Ishvara. Maha Prakriti, obviously, in cosmic terms, is known as Maha Prakriti, the cosmic Mother Nature, but we also can know her as Tara. And here we are in a group called the Green Tara for a reason. So again, it's all just receiving information from cosmos in many different ways, but so that it is clear, Tara is the great mother, the cosmic Mother Nature. And so it is. So this is a big, big change. Of course, it's not just planetary, it's not just galactic, it's not just universal. This is at a cosmic level. Simply all is back in tune, creating the harmony and oneness of all life. And this will be our new reality. Again, there was much more that actually was revealed, and all the changes that will be taking place on planet Earth, which, you know, first might also seem a little chaotic, but all chaos is also organized to actually lead to amazing utopia. And so utopia is the result of all that is to unfold, and we just have to know that. And so tomorrow we will, and actually I also will be doing a call today at 5, just for our all time zones, of course, so that everybody can join and know this. But please share, because this is so important. You know, no longer is this the old world. We only see the residue of the old world, but no longer is the old world at all relevant. No longer is it relevant. So what is relevant is the new, and the new is that everything has been restored. That's the reason for the final World Congress. This has been achieved. This is success. It is complete. And now we are those walking fields of solutions. All now is possible. Nothing is limited. The prison guards are gone. This is freedom, and it is the freedom to be and be yourself, which means affirm often, I am that I am, which is the only truth of our being. And so thank you so much for being here. And I'll send an email and send the recording of this, but also tomorrow will be same time and same place. So thank you so much.